Hi, I'm Adriana.
And I'm Jen, and we're two moms in the kitchen.
Come join us in the kitchen for some cooking,
Some conversation,
and lots of laughing. Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to be making lentil muffins and zucchini muffins, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start off with a cup of cooked green lentils. Now, the green lentils, we'll show you over here. This is what they look like. This is a third of a cup of green lentils uncooked, and it turns into this cooked. So this is a third of a cup, turns into about a cup cooked. So we're gonna put all of the lentils into a food processor. Make sure we get all of them in there. Okay, along with some oil. So this recipe calls for a quarter cup of oil. Today we're using olive oil. You can use avocado oil, coconut oil, whatever you want. I just happen to have olive oil on hand. Okay. Now, you don't need to go crazy with this. You can just go until the lentils are smooth. So, a little bit more. Now my food processor has this really nifty thing in it that you can turn.
oh, does it scrape the side?
Yep.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay, so maybe a little bit more. It says to do it until it's smooth. So there's still some chunks in there, so. Okay. Yeah, I feel good about that.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Let's take a look. Oh, yummy. Excellent.
Alrighty, the next thing we do is we add mashed bananas, egg, sugar, and vanilla to the food processor, and we do it all again. So, I told you a trick when we made the banana bread about having frozen bananas whole in your freezer. So, hence, my frozen banana, you can see it's a little, I took it out about 15 minutes ago, so it's nice and defrosting. So, we need just 3/4 cup of mashed bananas. So I think actually this banana will do it.
I would say so.
Yeah. So what I like to do with when it's frozen is I peel it actually from the bottom, because you take out that yucky part of the bottom, and you just kind of do what you got to do to take off the peel. And you know, it's still pretty solid. There we go. See, and you just want to make sure you get all that rind off of the banana peel. There we go. Looks pretty good there. So let's see. Yeah, that's about 3/4 cup. Okay. So we've got our 3/4 cup of banana. I'm just going to kind of mash it in a little bit more. Just get it going. And the food processor will really take care of it. Okay, so that goes in there. It says an egg, there we go, and a 1/4 cup of sugar. That's what I love about this recipe. It's only a 1/4 cup of sugar, so this really is not too bad of a recipe.
Awesome.
And then vanilla, so it's a teaspoon of vanilla. And then we process it again. There we go.
I like that it's all in one bowl.
One
so
bowl.
less cleanup.
Yeah, I am all about that. Okay, so let's put in our nifty thing. Okay. Oh, let me put this lid on here too, just in case.
Yeah.
I'm always afraid of things going like this. Heck no, we can't have that.
No.
All right. Okay, looking good.
All right.
There we go.
Excellent. All combined.
Yep. Alrighty. So the next bit is 2/3 of a cup of oats, 2/3 of a cup of white wheat flour. So this is not all-purpose flour, it's white wheat. Now you want to use white wheat because red wheat would be too rough. It would be make the muffins too dense. But if you use white wheat, it still makes them nice and fluffy. So we've got the oats.
And can we find that at the grocery store?
Oh yeah, super
Okay.
easy to find. When you're not in the middle of a pandemic, you can find it at the grocery store, you can find it at a bulk food store,
Perfect.
all of those places, no problem. And then baking soda, we just need a teaspoon, a teaspoon? Yeah, 1 teaspoon of baking soda. This is a brand new box, so it will give me issues, of course.
Of course.
There we go. Baking soda. And then a teaspoon of cinnamon. Okay. We pulse it again. Oh, that's going to give me trouble. Why? Okay. Here we go. Alrighty. Looking good. And then the magical treat is half a cup of mini chocolate chips.
Oh,
Now you could do regular chocolate chips. I like mini chocolate chips because I feel like you get more chocolate in there. And when you make this for kids, when they see the chocolate, they're like, ooh, that looks good. So if they see more chocolate, it's okay. So half a cup of chocolate chips. We won't even bother putting the revolver in there. There we go. It gets nice and thick. You'll see everything looks
delicious.
delicious. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove that, put all this away. Now, the oven is preheating to 375, and I've got my mini muffin pans ready to go. Tins, pans, what do you call them?
muffin tins.
Muffin tins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think either works.
Either works, okay. And then I've got a little trick too for this. I use a cookie scoop
Yes.
to make my muffins. So I'm just gonna make sure everything on the side is there.
I'm
Done.
just gonna scooch this out of the way
Yeah,
so we
it
can
has little suckers on the bottom.
There we go. Awesome.
Okay. And then the batter is gonna be thick, but that's okay. So see, that's all it is.
Perfect.
Now these are gonna bake for 18 to 20 minutes. And it makes quite a bit. And so what I like to do is I make a whole bunch.
How many does this recipe make, do you think?
Oh, I believe it makes, so this is 24 plus another 12, 36.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So what I like to do is make a whole bunch on the weekend and then I freeze it. And then what's nice is when you're making a kid's lunch, I take it literally from the freezer to a little Tupperware container. And by the time they eat it, it's perfectly defrosted. They love it. And they've got some nutrition in them.
Great tip.
Yeah. Now, Jen, now that we are several weeks into school,
Yes.
how are lunches going for you?
That's a good question. I know that a lot of moms have this concern because, like you said, we're several weeks in and now sandwiches just aren't cutting it anymore.
Yeah.
So what I've found that works at our house, now I've got a little bit older children. I've got a almost 12-year-old and an 8-year-old. I invested in some thermoses for them. And this week alone, three lunches so far have been hot lunches.
Like this?
Exactly.
Like
That's
that.
exactly the one that my son has.
Yep.
Yep. They're fabulous because you can put leftovers in them. We've done soup. What else have we done? Scrambled eggs in them.
Oh, you put scrambled eggs in
I
them?
do. Yes. Yeah.
Holy moly.
Now the trick with this is that what I do is I boil the kettle, like fill up the kettle with water, boil it, and then put some hot water in there and put the lid on top. That helps warm up the thermos.
Mm-hmm.
Then you heat whichever food you're putting in it,
Mm-hmm.
slightly hotter than you normally would serve it to them. And that way then the combination of the warm container plus the warm food, it's not going to be a piping hot lunch, but it will be a warm lunch for them.
Right.
And the kids love it. We did mac and cheese in there. We've done, oh goodness, leftovers are a big hit
That's
in our
great.
house.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you?
So far, I did do a leftovers one time, and I didn't heat this properly. So
Okay.
He said it was just broccoli and cheddar casserole,
Oh,
broccoli
yeah?
and rice casserole. And he said by the time he got to lunch, it was cold, so it wasn't good anymore. So I reread the directions and did it properly. And so the next time I made macaroni and cheese.
Yes.
And so I did a homemade one with whole wheat noodles and, my own version of it. And I did it the night before, and then that morning I did everything properly, and he said it was delicious for lunch.
Exactly.
So 2 thumbs up. Super, super happy because sandwiches are boring.
Yes.
And we also do wraps,
Yes.
just with a whole wheat tortilla, quesadillas.
Yes.
And my kids are okay with on the colder side quesadillas. They don't really care. One good thing we do is bagels with some
Okay.
cream cheese.
Oh.
And they both love that.
Yes.
I don't know why. I don't particularly like older bagels, toasted in the morning and not so crisp. But they seem to be okay with it. We also have done. We do our own version of Lunchables,
Yes.
where we have these little molds that you can find.
Okay.
And so I put 2 one with cheese and one with ham or what they want, whatever combination, with a bunch of crackers. They both love that.
Yes.
So really it's just a matter of being creative and kind of figuring out what they want. I always ask them in the morning, what do you want for lunch? And then build around them, also putting in my own stuff that I know that they need.
Exactly.
That's good enough.
Perfect.
Okay, so I misspoke when I said this makes 36. It actually makes 30-ish.
Ish.
So anyways, so the oven is at 375. We're gonna pop these in for about 18 to 20 minutes, and then we'll check out what they look like.
Sounds good.
Welcome back. We are gonna move on to zucchini muffins. This is a little bit more labor intense, but still delicious all the same. So we're gonna be using a sifter, and what's great about this recipe is it has the 2 flours. It has whole wheat flour and all-purpose flour. And again, you want to use the white whole wheat flour, not the red, because it'll make the muffins way too heavy. The red wheat has its purpose, not in muffins. So we're gonna just this is a 1.5 cups of white flour. And just dump it all in here. And the reason I'm doing it in a bowl is so that it catches everything at the bottom. And then we've got the whole wheat flour. There we go. Come on. There we go. Good.
Now, what's the purpose of sifting the flour?
It just makes it finer so you don't get clumps, and it mixes everything in very finely.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about getting a bite of flour in your muffin. That would be not good.
No.
Okay, next we've got 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and I just put everything in the sifter, and then it takes very little effort to put that together, and then a tablespoon of baking soda and a tablespoon of baking powder. You need both for this recipe.
That helps give it some lift.
Yep. There we go. And you want to make sure that your baking powder is not expired.
Yes.
Because you will end up with flat baked goods or whatever you're using it in. The last time I bought baking powder was in 2015.
Oh, wow.
And so I was making something and I noticed it wasn't as much lift, and I checked the expiration date and it was very expired. So make sure your baking powder is good.
Yes.
Okay, and then we also need the cinnamon. So this is a tablespoon of cinnamon, and it just gives it that nice warm flavor. Okay, there we go. We're gonna go ahead and sift. See this? That is all it does.
Very cool.
Now I used to have the sifter that you would have to do the crank,
Yes.
and that gave me carpal tunnel.
Yes.
It was so hard to do, but this one, I bought this at like Walmart a few years ago, and it just makes life that much easier.
Awesome.
mixed together. Okay, next we're going to do in a mixer. Now you can use a stand-up mixer or you can use a hand mixer, whatever you have. We're going to do 2 egg whites. So I'm going to teach you how to separate eggs. So I'm going to teach you how to separate egg from egg yolk. Now there's 2 schools of thought here. You can do it with your hand, where you put the whole egg in your hand and separate it with your fingers, or the way I was taught was to separate it with the eggshell. So, watch this not work. That would be the worst part. Okay, so here we want the egg whites, not the yolk. You have to know which one you want. So, here we go. So, see, I made a very, very clean line, and I separate it, and I just go back and forth, making sure that there's no eggshells getting in. And it's just kind of moving back and forth. There's also a little apparatus that you can buy that you can put the, where's my other egg? Oh, it's in the bowl. Don't worry. There's an apparatus that you can buy that is the perfect size of a yolk. When you break the egg, you put it the whole thing, and the egg yolk falls out, and the egg white falls out, and the egg yolk stays in the container.
Yes, I think Tupperware had that. My mom had one like that years and years ago.
Yeah, so see, this is just the egg white. See, and then you can kind of just scrape it along, and we are good to go.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Very talented.
Well, you know.
I like to use my hands.
It does depend how you were taught, right?
Yes.
Everybody's got a different way of doing things, so we call it good. Okay, next is the bananas. So, again, my banana trick of pulling off the bananas. So these bananas now are a lot more defrosted than what I usually work with, so they're going to be a lot gooier. So again, we're going to take off that back part, and these, because they're so defrosted, they are just going to slide right out, literally. You don't even have to like really do anything, just kind of push it down, and there's your banana. You don't even have to worry about the peel. So if you prefer to work with the banana like that, that's fine. It just depends on what you like to do. So take off that part at the bottom, and then just slide it out. And this recipe calls for, I think that's some at the top too, 2 mashed bananas. So we've got 2 here. Good.
And they're almost mashed.
They're pretty much, you don't need much more. Maybe just a little. Okay. So we've got that mashed banana ready to go in there. All right. Next up is the oil. So we need 1/2 cup of vegetable oil, which I have right here. And I did not take out my measuring cup for that. Why not? I have 1,000 sets of measuring cups, but never the one that I need.
It's always the case.
Yes. So this is 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. There we go. And then, here's a trick for anybody who needs it. This recipe calls for 1/2 cup of unsweetened applesauce. Now, I know we talked last time about applesauce and homemade applesauce, but sometimes you need a break. So this is unsweetened applesauce, and when you buy them like this in the container, it's 1/2 cup. So I always buy just the 6-pack of applesauce ready to go. So when I have situations like this where I'm baking, it's ready to go. My kids know not to eat this one because this is for Mama's baking. So 1/2 cup of applesauce.
That's a great tip.
Yeah. There we go. Vanilla. So this requires 3 teaspoons of vanilla. Alrighty. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Good. And then a cup of sugar. Now, that might seem like quite a bit of sugar, but this makes so many muffins that you wouldn't even know. I was giving this to my kids, and I was finding they loved it, but my husband, he likes them, but he doesn't love them. So, and I think it's because they're just slightly sweet. just enough for the kids to love them, but not for my husband to go crazy for them. And that's okay, because, you know, he gets other sweet things from me. Okay, so let's put that in there.
Just take a peek here.
There we go. That's all the
All
things
mixed
mixed together.
together. Yep.
And then we go. And you're just going to mix it till it all comes together. We'll put it a little bit higher. There we go. Looking good. Okay.
Now, if someone didn't have a mixer like this, could they use a hand
You
beater?
can use a hand beater. Heck, you could even use a whisk.
Okay.
You know, whatever you have on hand, just use whatever you have. You don't have to buy anything special. I would recommend the sifter, but I mean, that's relatively cheap to buy, so that shouldn't be a problem. Okay, so we're now going to add the dry ingredients to the wet ingredients. It doesn't say anything about doing it slowly or anything, so I always just dump it in. With some recipes, you have to do it slowly and be careful. This is one that you just literally dump and go. Okay, and then I do have a trick, and this is mostly because of my kids. So what I like to do is put a towel over the mixer when it has all the dry ingredients at the top, so they don't fly away. Because it gets a little bit crazy. Let's see, we're almost there. Get everything mixed.
That's a great tip.
Yes.
I had that happen with my daughter. We made brownies and I had cocoa powder all
Everywhere.
over the cabinets, the ceiling,
Yep.
because I told her to turn it to 1 and she went to 10.
Yeah. Well, and this is a great recipe to make with kids. So my rule is this is your side and this is my side. So they don't get to the 11. They just get to lock it. That's it. Okay. So from here, you can see it's looking pretty good. This
Delicious.
batter, but we're missing the key ingredient, which is zucchini. Now, for this recipe, you need 3 cups of shredded zucchini. Now, it's not exactly zucchini season anymore. So what I did is the last time I got a big batch of zucchini, I shredded it all and I put it into Ziploc bags in 3-cup increments. So this is what I really, this is what it will look like. So see, well, not the straightest thing, but 3 cups of zucchini, frozen, ready to go.
Perfect.
So what I did this morning, because I knew I was going to be making these, is I pulled out the bag of frozen zucchini and I put it in a big sifter, and it's just been sitting there
Awesome.
this morning, you know. If you wanted to move it along, you could add water to it. You don't have to. And the next thing I love about this recipe is you don't have to wring out the water from the zucchini. We need that moisture for the muffin. So literally, this is defrosted zucchini. It's kind of, you see, kind of gross and slimy, but that's okay. That's what we want for this recipe. So we're just going to pull it over and dump it in. There we go. Okay, set to go. Then we put it back. And let it mix in. Now you might have to just scrape down the sides a little bit, make sure you get all that zucchini in there. And this recipe will be very sticky, so don't be afraid of that. There we go. And then keep it going until everything is mixed together. There you go. So that's what the final product before cooking is. Okay. All right, so we are going to go ahead and put these into our muffin tins, and when we come back, we will be able to try both muffins and see how they turned out. All right, welcome back. We are ready to try our muffins. We're going to try the lentil one first. It's just a cute little mini muffin, so dig in.
Delicious.
Can't taste the lentil, right?
No.
Mhm.
No, that's very good.
Yep.
The chocolate chips are just a nice little hint.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would definitely be a crowd pleaser for kids.
Mm-hmm. Now you can see a little bit of the texture from the oats on the top, but you don't taste the texture.
Mm-hmm.
It's very smooth in the middle. So I think my kids go crazy for them. I think your kids will too.
Mm-hmm. So good.
Yep. And like I said, I freeze these and just keep them in the freezer, and then when I take them out for lunch, I put them in a Tupperware container, frozen, and by the time the kids eat it at lunch, it's perfectly defrosted and they are very happy. Next up we have the zucchini muffin. Now you can see some texture in the zucchini muffin of the zucchini. I don't like to really hide vegetables from the kids. I mean, the lentils are a different story because that is good fiber and good vitamins of, you know, something they would never ever try. But my kids have tried zucchini. They know what it looks like, they know what it tastes like, and they can see the green streaks in the muffin. And I think it's really important for us to show kids, like, this is what it would look like, because then that could lead them to trying it in other dishes and just creating their palate so that they will be willing to try other foods from other cultures and really creating something for themselves as they grow up, of knowing what food tastes like and appreciating what food tastes like.
Absolutely.
All right, let's give it a try.
Okay.
See? Not too sweet.
Nope.
Just.
You can taste the banana. You can taste the cinnamon in it. That's really a nice combination. Very good.
There you go.
Delicious. So hopefully you give it a try. And let us know if you have any comments or suggestions. And enjoy.